that is somewhat unusual for head hair, and that's a ridge that was present in the head hairs.
They concluded that the hairs found on the chainsaw and at the river were microscopically
This is what's
similar
up.
to the hair from Hella's hairbrush. Next, they
Here's
turned their
India.
attention to the fingernail with the bright red nail polish.
A few
A
things to know
chemist
about India.
compared it to a bottle of Hella's fingernail polish found in her home, analyzing the
India,
various
officially the
organic
Republic of India,
compounds.
is a
These
country
graphs
in
show
South
that
Asia.
the
It
polish
is
on
the
the
seventh
fingernail
largest
found
country
at the
by
river
area, the most
is the same
populous
as polish
country
taken
since
from the bottle
2023.
found on Hella's
And since its
nightstand.
independence in
Good forensic work
1947, the
determined
world's most
that the
populous
fingernail polish
democracy.
and the hair were both
I
similar to
suggest you
Hella's,
save that
but they
beautiful
couldn't
shit
prove
right there,
she
yeah.
was dead.
You can
I
save
received
it.
a
I would
phone
like to
call
see some
from
images
Dr.
of it
Lee
if that was
asking
possible.
me if I would come and take a look at these little pieces
Let's
of
see some pictures here, guys.
what he thought to be bone.
Well,
And he wanted me
welcome
to
to
see if I
India.
could identify them in any way.
Dr. Lee suspected that the bones found at the river had gone through the wood
Oh, a
chipper
little
Crafts had
underground
rented.
thing.
So Dr. Lee
Or
got the
is this a
same
roof?
machine
I don't know.
and ran a test. This is actual footage. A pig was put through the chipper, since their skin and bones are similar to humans.
Somebody
Dr. Lee
obviously
noticed
took
that
this
the
picture
chipper
with the
produced a unique
potato.
signature type of cut, one that matched the cutting pattern on the debris
how
found
beautiful.
at the river.
Look at how
What
the
I
waterfall's
was
falling
presented
into
with
the
were
water.
these very,
The
very
water's so
tiny,
blue.
literally millimeter-sized fragments of bone. And in amongst
And
some of
here's
these
a building
fragments,
that
it was
features a lot
possible
of
to
glass.
see that some of the fragments indeed came from a human.
Under a spectrograph,
There's something cool.
Dr. Harper
Wow, that
noticed
looks really
tiny
old.
grooves in the bones. The grooves told a story. They were formed by blood vessels inside the top of the skull, something only humans have. They also identified skull fragments from
Well,
the
that
side
carpet
of
is
the head.
disgusting. When's the
And
last time they've
these
cleaned it?
were the most important from a forensic point of view.
Oh,
The
a
fresh
dancing
beveling
woman.
outwards.
Quite a
No force
shapely
from
figure.
inside. We know
I
there's
can
a whole
almost
lot
see
of
her
force.
nipples through
So
her
we didn't know if
shirt.
that's what killed her. We didn't know if she was dead before it happened. But we certainly knew she was dead afterwards.
Here's some leaves in the water.
So now we know a human being is dead.
A large building
The next
with
question
very
is,
much
who?
glass in it.
Dr. Harper froze some of the bone fragments with liquid nitrogen, then
It's 7:51.
ground them to a
Are you
fine
masked
powder.
up and ready to rock
Tests
and roll?
revealed the bones came from an individual with type O
We're gonna
positive
back
blood,
right on out of here.
Hella
And
Craft's
let me show you
blood
some
type.
of my sites.
Finally, Dr. Lee turned his attention to the gray piece of metal believed to be a crown to a tooth.
But there was no human remains on that crown, so that couldn't be used as a form of identification.
I don't know
They
if I
needed
clicked
more.
too many times or
So
what.
Dr. Lee asked Dr. Karazoulis himself to go to the river where he searched for 5 days. Then, a break.
I'd been at the crime scene for maybe 8 hours. I slipped and fell into the brook. And I had a pail, and I was picking evidence up. And I cleaned my hand off in this pail that I was collecting
This
evidence
is
in.
an interesting
When I came into
place
the
that I
tent,
found.
I put all the contents of the pail
It's
down.
called the
I
Zebra
washed my
House.
hand, and I looked down, and
I
there was
found
the
it
tooth.
way the
But
hell
was
on
it Hella
out here.
Craft's?
And I was
It
able to
doesn't
match
seem
all
to
the years
have a lot
of different
around
x-rays.
it
So I
in
imagine it was
terms
from
of-
1986 back to 1982.
So check
So I
this
had no
out.
doubt in my
These
mind that the tooth I
circles
found
here,
came
I
from
could
Heli
link
Craft's
them up
mouth.
if I wanted. I bet there used to be a circle
the
here, probably
forensic
a circle
team
here.
had an
I know
actual
this
match.
is probably a whole thing.
And they say
We're not
Helicraft's
gonna get
teeth
into
are
that, but
in
what
this pile.
Hey, wait, what's that?
And
There's
they were
another
knocked
circle
out of
thing.
her
When
head
I start
violently.
mentioning them, I
We
see them
have
everywhere.
a human head going through violent injury in
So
the
I
same
wanted
pile.
to
So
show
we said,
y'all, if I can just get on
that
in
means
here.
Helicraft is dead. Period.
Based on the forensic evidence, Richard Kraft
Here's
was
something that
arrested
would be very
and
difficult
charged
to
in the
find on
murder of
your
his
own.
wife.
Let me wait for that to load.
What happened to Hella Crafts? Based on the forensic evidence, a reasonable scenario
I'm going to
can
pause
be
the
pieced
recording as it
together.
loads. Also, I have to urinate.
Thanks for the ride.
Again. She put the children to bed around 8. The nanny had the night off and wasn't expected home until midnight. Before going to bed, Hella changed into her favorite blue nightshirt, looked through her mail, stuffed it into her pocket, and began changing the sheets.
I don't believe you. You know, I can't take this anymore. Why don't you just get out?
No,
Go
you
see.
get out.
You get out. Leave me alone.
Then it happened quickly. Using a police flashlight, the first blow knocked her to the ground. The second produced the blood splatter, hitting the mattress at a 10-degree angle. While falling, her head grazed the side of the mattress, leaving the blood smear. He wrapped the body in the bed covers, carried her through the house into the garage, and placed the body into a freezer. Richard tried to clean up the blood with some towels which were later washed, but traces of blood remained on the towels, later discovered by Dr. Lee. Marie Thomas, the nanny, arrived home around 2 a.m. and went right to bed. At daybreak, Crafts took the children and the nanny to his sister's house, saying their mother had left earlier.
Marie, hurry up!
He then rented the largest commercial wood chipper he could find and a U-Haul truck, using his credit card. By nighttime, Hella's body was completely frozen. Crafts transported the remains, along with a chainsaw and some wood, to the river.
Here's some.
The snowplow driver spotted the wood chipper on a bridge around 3:30 in the morning, and again
There's a mansion
near
here.
the
There's
river
a crazy
an
ass
hour
mansion
later.
here.
Using
I know
his
that it's
chainsaw,
here.
Crafts dismembered Hella's frozen body and put the pieces through the chipper along with some wood. Since the body was frozen,
pretty cool.
it produced
Looks
little, if
Chinese.
any, blood splatter. Most of the debris blew
Notice
into
the
the
tech
river.
on top of both
Only
the
a few
buildings
pieces
used
fell
to
short, landing on the bank.
focus
The mail Hella placed in her
and
nightshirt pocket
transmit
passed through the
etherical
chipper,
energy.
virtually untouched. Before leaving, Crafts
This
took
is what I
apart
was
the
talking about
chainsaw,
right fucking here.
scratched the serial number off, and threw the pieces into the river. How close was the
I just
brutal
stumbled
murder of
across
Hella
this.
Crafts to the
No way,
perfect
this is
crime?
for damn zebras.
Boy. Damn close. Damn close.
If that
This is
person
for
truly
rich
believes they're
people,
not going to be caught, there's no
zebras.
fear or threat
Zebras
to
don't
them,
walk on this shit.
they could get
Well,
by
this
a
is pretty
polygraph
cool,
test.
though. Look at
The
those
key
columns.
thought in this case, so-called teamwork. Assemble a good team and work together.
Oh, yeah, well, that's cool. That's cool.
The human body writes
It took me forever
so
to
much of its
find it
history
again.
in
I
itself.
asked GPT a million times. It just completely denied its existence. Notice this old brickwork here. Very probably ancient, just like this shit. I've been showing y'all that you usually see these in twos. You see these twos right here. Boom, boom. You see Antiquitech on top of all of the buildings, accompanied by this old stonework. And what is this? Some kind of cannon or a damn weapon or something? Shit, I don't know. Watch out. Okay, trees. Oh, there they are. I can see those towers now. That's pretty cool.
At the Dallas Pistol and Revolver Club in 1991, Trey Cooley, a young spectator, was watching
And
a
there's
shooting
more
competition
by the twos,
seated behind
except for
an
when they
air
get
gun
back here,
range.
These go
He was
around.
struck and killed by a stray bullet.
I feel convinced that this is some form of
This is how
power
ballistics,
that
lasers,
people don't
and forensic
really recognize
animation
or been taught about.
solve the riddle
This shit
of the
on
magic
top is
bullet.
not merely for looks and decoration. Now that's a good looking bird. How about that there? What a beautiful little enclosed area with the glass listen to it. Get ready. We're about to put another one on board. We're about to tie another one on.
14-year-old
We're about to
Trey
do
Cooley.
this. Ready?
Look at him and you see the all-American boy. Trey
That's the
attended
sound
Bowles
of
Junior High
100%
School in
American
Arlington,
blue blood
Texas,
running
near
through my
Dallas.
veins,
He
brother,
played
with a
cello in the
Busch
school
Light
orchestra,
beer.
played baseball,
Oh, no, it
and
looks
was a
like
Boy
I've gotten the wrong
Scout.
beer, and this is actually a
At
Busch,
that age,
not a
every
Busch
kid
Light.
has the
I
whole
thought it
world
was
open to him.
particularly heavy
He
on
could
my
have done anything
stomach
he wanted to do.
and my palate.
Most of all, he enjoyed spending time with his family. Trey and his father, Butch, were best friends.
Okay.
We did everything
Well,
together.
that's the Zebra House. Now, when you
September
go on maps,
29th,
and this is the funny
1991.
part about it,
Butch Cooley
I
woke
don't
early
care
that
how you
Saturday
come
morning,
down on this part. I
then
don't
went to
even
wake
know how
Trey.
the hell I found
The two
this,
shared a passion
but
for
I came
shooting.
down on it and
Butch
I'm
was
like,
judging
it
a
just
competition.
looks weird.
He
I
gave
don't
Trey
know,
a
there's not
choice
even any
to sleep
clues
in
as to
or
why
tag
I
along.
would've focused in
Trey
on that.
chose to go with
You
his
damn
father.
sure don't see it from here, though, do you? You would never spot
Trey
that in a
started
million
shooting when he was
years.
7.
Good luck, buddy. Good luck. And so sometimes I feel like these maps lie to you until you get up close and personal.
He enjoyed it. Shot his first
But
deer.
as always, this is how they
8.
do it. If
He
you want
wanted
to
to
know
be
how
a
I found
pistol
this place
competitor.
even, look. So I'm in India.
And he was pretty good at
Okay,
it.
never mind. This one.
At the
Am I
Dallas
still in
Pistol and
India?
Revolver Club, Trey volunteered to help out by running results from judges to the official scorer. In between
Where the
assignments,
hell
he sat in the airgun building to get out of the hot Texas sun.
What?
He
Where
sat
the hell?
just inside the door near two women who were working as scorers. But behind people
Okay,
shooting
well,
air
I mean,
pistols,
yeah,
nothing
I'm in
more
F
than
and
pellet
India
and
still.
BB guns.
I'm in the up
Then,
part.
a blood-curdling
Hey, I'll tell you
scream.
something cool.
Trey
Get
Cooley
ready, my
slumped to
guy.
the
I'm about
floor,
to tell you something
blood
cool.
flowing from his temple. His baseball cap had a tiny but telltale hole. Butch Cooley was outside the building, just a few yards from his son when he heard the
So
screaming.
if you look
Although
at
Butch Cooley spent
Sri
21 years as
Lanka
a state trooper and was trained
to
to
the upper
handle
part of the map,
emergencies,
and you
no
look down
training
to
could
see
prepare him for what
the
he saw
northern
next.
coast of India,
When I got there, I saw
you'll
that he'd been
notice
shot.
that.
I checked his pulse.
And I'll come down a
I
little
knew
bit
it
so you
wasn't
can
good.
see this.
Butch
NASA
walked in and
reported
I asked him,
having some high-res
"What are you doing home?"
images that there was
And I said, "Well,
once
where is
a
Trey?"
man-made
And then
land
he came in and he
bridge
told me, he said,
dating from over
"There's
1,000
been an
years
accident."
ago from Sri Lanka to
And,
India. And
I was
as
thinking,
approached,
well,
I
he's
could
cut his foot,
almost
cut his
see it.
hand, or broke his arm,
Does that
And I
look
said, "Well,
like
that's okay.
it used to be
He'll be okay."
a
Trey
bridge
was
like
rushed by
that?
ambulance to Parkland Memorial
It looks
Hospital
like
in
I can
Dallas.
come down a little bit.
He was just lying there.
That kind of caught my
He was
eye. You see,
breathing, or
like,
the
I'm
machine
very
was breathing
ADD.
for
I
him.
like to adventure, Chief. I really like to adventure.
His little hands were still warm,
Oh, that's cool.
and he just looked like he was asleep.
6 hours later, Trey died.
I just wanted to tell him that I was very,
Okay,
very proud of
hopefully
him.
I don't have this.
I loved him dearly.
My only son,
I know, I might already be messing up because my mama
my
says,
best friend, my
she
fishing
said, I
buddy,
want to hear your voice.
my hunting partner.
That's my
Just
mom. She
avoid.
says, I want to hear your voice now. I don't
Trey
want it to be
Cooley was
that
seated in the
robot,
club's designated
and I
safety
don't
area.
I don't want
It
the
was an
music
accident
playing over
that
ya.
shouldn't have happened. Detective Tom Pease and crime investigator David Taylor had a tough job to figure out where the bullet that killed Trey Cooley came from and to determine
Catholic Church.
if the shooting was accidental or intentional. Butch Cooley spent 2 decades as a state trooper. Was it possible the shooting had
This
something to
Catholic
do with an
church is
enemy he
apparently
possibly
hosted
made during his
outside.
tenure?
They
Or had the
have
bullet come from
Mary and
outside,
Jesus.
from one of the outdoor shooting ranges,
Nothing
or
to see here,
possibly
guys.
the nearby
Oh,
railroad
that's
tracks
nothing to
where
see,
kids
right?
had a
So
history
here
of
are the
taking
pictures of
shots
this
at the
thing.
air gun building.
The biggest problem with this range, or this scene, was
Catholics
the
in the
size of
house.
it.
I
It
love
wasn't
y'all.
contained inside a house, inside an apartment.
St.
It was
Paul's
outside and
Church.
it covered
Can I see
several
it from
hundred
the
feet.
sky? How large
The bullet
is it?
removed from Trey's skull would provide some answers and raise new questions. The bullet was small, about half an inch long, but lethal. Larry Fletcher is the
It's hard for me
firearms
to ever
expert
stay
who
on
conducted
point
the
here,
ballistics
or
examination.
on
The bullet
topic.
was not that damaged.
We're just,
The bullet
oh,
was
man, it looks
in
old.
rather remarkable
It looks old.
condition.
It's pretty right
This is a
down.
.45 caliber
That's cool,
bullet
though.
after striking a cement wall. It is badly mangled, especially when compared to the bullet that killed Trey Cooley. That lack of damage could be telling, except for one thing. This was not a typical .45 caliber bullet.
This particular bullet is a hand-loaded or hand-made bullet. It's not a commercial-made bullet in which they can add other materials to the lead and make it much harder. It can withstand a lot of damage upon impact.
Who makes and uses these types of bullets? Butch Cooley knew.
Competitive shooters like to load their own ammunition.
Like this.
Primary reason being
not a lot of foot traffic.
Most of the competitive shooters on the outside ranges that day were using hand-made bullets, so there was little doubt that the bullet came from somewhere here rather than from kids on the railroad tracks. Police collected the weapons and ammunition samples from the shooters in the competition. When Larry Fletcher examined the bullets used that day on the outside ranges, he noticed something else.
The powder charge, which increased the velocity of this particular type of bullet.
Basically, the shooters used bullets with more gunpowder. More gunpowder means these bullets travel farther and faster than a regular .45 caliber bullet.
In particular, so
Fletcher's next task was to match the bullet that killed Trey to one of about a dozen guns. Each of the guns from the shooting competition were test-fired and compared to the bullet taken from Trey Cooley's skull. Fletcher had trouble getting an exact match because the extra gunpowder created extremely high temperatures during the firing of the gun, actually melting some of the distinguishing marks. But Fletcher noticed a red wax on the bullet that killed Trey. All shooters use a lubricating wax, but only one of the guns used a red wax. Larry Fletcher found the gun that fired the fatal shot.
At that point, I was pretty much convinced.
A pistol competitor named Dan Smith was using that gun on the day of the competition. And he was firing on this outdoor range, just behind the airgun building. But Smith told police he couldn't have fired the fatal shot.
He felt that all his shots had made the target. There were no errant rounds.
But something just didn't add up to Butch Cooley. He spent his entire life around guns and won awards for marksmanship and gun safety. He knew shooting ranges are supposed to be safe. Accidents aren't supposed to happen. It just didn't make sense.
Just be honest with yourselves. Accidents do happen. So always be
Police
careful.
were satisfied that Trey Cooley's death was an accident. The ballistics report said the fatal bullet came from a gun fired from an outdoor range during the competition. But how? The owner of the gun said he didn't miss a shot, and the range was designed to contain any errant bullet.
What is such a thing?
First, there's a barrier between the airgun building and the firing range. It's called a berm. It's a small mountain of dirt about 12 feet high. The berm sits right behind the targets in the event a shooter misses either to the left or right. Directly above the targets are a series of wooden planks fastened end to end and side by side. These are called baffles, and they're designed to catch bullets fired a little high of the target before they leave the range. Then there are two additional sets of baffles, one just a few yards in front of the firing line, and another called an eyebrow directly over the firing line. Ken Buster is a safety management consultant with years of experience as a shooter and with a special expertise in firing ranges.
Between the eyebrow, the baffles, and the height of the berm, the vast majority of any stray bullet would be stopped.
Safety should be the #1 priority to everybody's man. Anytime that you participate in marksmanship.
That's a lot of candles. I love candles.
Something
That's
was
so
wrong
cool.
there.
Butch Cooley began a personal crusade to learn the truth. He needed to know how a bullet could bypass the range's safety features and kill his only son. Butch hired attorney Mike Schmidt to find out where or if the safety system had failed. Schmidt put together an investigative team. Steve Irwin was the first member, As an accident reconstructionist, his job was to create an exact, computerized, three-dimensional scale model of the airgun building and the firing ranges.
That's pretty prestigious.
Using laser technology, precision measuring devices, and sophisticated computer programs, Irwin would also uncover the path of the bullet.
You wind up starting at, unfortunately, the young boy getting shot and then working your way backwards.
Police had already identified some important clues. The outside wall of the airgun building was riddled with bullet holes from all angles. Irwin needed to know exactly which one was the culprit. Police also found bullet holes inside the building, in a sheetrock strip to protect the lighting fixture, and in a wall that separated the indoor range from a storage shed. There was also a fresh gouge in an ordinary ceiling tile. Irwin's laser survey equipment traced the bullet's path from where Trey was sitting through all those points. From Trey, through the sheetrock strip, off the ceiling tile, and through the back wall. It seemed unlikely, but it matched the evidence.
It was roughly a straight line. But I couldn't see from the interior wall to the exterior wall. And it wasn't until we got it back to the office and got it mapped that it formed this remarkably straight line.
A straight line that led directly to one of the bullet holes in the aluminum siding, then down to the shooting range behind the airgun building. It led to the range where Dan Smith was shooting, but oddly enough, not to the firing line. The laser pinpointed a path that landed 10 yards in front of the firing line. When Ken Buster was brought into the investigation, he immediately inspected the firing range to see if there was any way a bullet could get past all of the range's safety features. Buster delivered a scathing report.
At the time and now, I still think that was the worst range that I have ever seen.
He found dozens of potentially deadly safety flaws.
The berm separating the back range from the front range was not the standard height, which is supposed to be 20 feet.
The berm behind the airgun building was only 12 feet high. The baffles were far below standard. The wooden planks should have had a steep...
All right, hold on. I'm trying to skip it ahead. Did I mess it all up? 1705. That's weird. I see the numbers. Well, I'm done with all that. Let's see if I can get my GPT back up. Yep. I didn't see that temple, but I did see a whole lot. Well, let's see. I would like some interesting fun facts. I guess I'll finish it like this. I keep coming back to this place for some reason. In real life, you gotta wait for these answers, yo. I always skip ahead to try and get to the read now button, because I hate to do the spoilers for myself, but damn, now it's like right in front of your face, you can see it all. I'll just like try and scroll down while it reads it aloud. Gotta make sure that bitch is still loading sometimes. Life hasn't been too bad having to wear the headphones. It's a new thing I've forced myself to do so I can get my better audio.
Quick TL. Mysore sits on layers of South Indian history. Western Ganga rules, see 3rd to 10th C. Hoysala Temple Building High Art, 12th to 13th C. Vijayanagara and later Wodeyar statecraft, Kingdom of Mysore, the 1399 onward, then the Hyder Ali Tipu Sultan chapter, 18th C, that ended with the 1799 British assault at Srirangapatna. The landscape, Chamundi Hill, the Kaveri Islands at Srirangapatna, and Hoysala temples at Somanathapura, is where religion, war, and art keep bumping into each other. Encyclopedia Britannica. All right, here's a compact human walkthrough of the ancient early modern history around Mysore and Srirangapatna, with the juicy facts and what to look for on the ground. Number 1. Deep-ruled first, that we reliably know, Western Ganga dynasty, often called simply the Gangas, dominated the Gangavati region, the wider Mysore area, from roughly 3rd to 10th century CE. They established many early temple sites and village settlements that later dynasties built on. Think of them as the local housekeepers who set the foundations. Encyclopedia Britannica. Number 2. Hoysala Golden Age, carved in stone. In the 12th to 13th centuries, the Hoysala rulers and their local chiefs produced the dazzling soapstone temples that are the region's sculptural signature. The Chinakeshava temple at Somanathapura, consecrated 1258 CE, is a pristine example. Star-shaped platforms, dense panels of gods, dancers, horses, and mythic combat, a masterclass in Hoysala detail. If you like microsculpture, this is the clinic. Wikipedia 3, Chamundi Hill and Local Sacred Geography, Chamundi, Chamundeshwari. Temple crowns the hill above Mysore. The site has layers, an original shrine with Hoysala-era connections, and later Vijayanagara Wodeyar additions. The hill's religious identity goes deep into local Puranic lore, the Mahishasura Chamunda myth, which is why the old name Mahishuru Misuru derives from that mythic cattle demon story. The long stairways, large Nandi sculptures, and the hilltop view.
Alright, we're gonna stop there. I know I probably lost y'all about halfway through. But it's going up, it's going up. I don't know how big this recording's gonna be. It might take all night. And then I've got, like, man, 3 other ones too. I don't even know if I want to upload all this shit. Stay tuned, because I'm coming right back.